So Thor the Dark World was directed by Alan Taylor, and it stars Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, Tom Hiddleston, Stellan Skarsgård, and Anthony Hopkins. Now, this movie was a real change of the guard when I saw it in theaters, and it taught me some lessons that I am actually going to talk about today, and that is that Marvel isn't infallible, and I do feel like that is something that we should all remember. We have been treated to so many, not just good, but great Marvel films out there that sometimes you can forget that they can do wrong, and they did do wrong with this movie, in my opinion. All of the fun that was in the original Thor has been sucked out of this one. And he, as a character, Thor is just so sullen and so brooding, and he literally, the Twilight aspect of of Thor that I talked about in my Thor review, in this movie just literally comes to fruition here, because it is all over the place. There is no reason why he can't just go and visit Jane in this movie. The Bifrost is fixed. Yes, there is some policing that he must do across the 9 realms, but he can just go and say hi. But no, he just kind of sits back and mopes, and she mopes. Jane is even less fun in this movie, and it's just, I will say, after the first action scene of this movie that kind of kicks it off, when they are in Anaheim, I would say that this movie is not fun for a very long time. And I mean a very long time. And that's a problem with a Marvel movie, because almost all of them are fun. Hell, Captain Marvel was fun. There is just not a lot of redeeming qualities to this movie. And a lot of sullen, brooding, Twilight behavior. Women, you're going to like this movie, because guess what? Thor shows off even more beefcake than in the first movie. That's fine, whatever. But, I mean, really, I feel like we should ask more from our entertainment, and this movie is not going to give it to you. But besides that, it is also going to give you a plot that is literally nonsensical. From one point to the other, I literally, this whole ether plot is bad. And I mean bad. It is the worst plot of all of these Marvel films out there today. Our villain, Malekith, he's just, you don't know what the guy wants. He looks menacing. He is played by Christopher Eccleston. That is a great British actor, but I just feel like behind all the makeup and with all of this movie's mixed messages with the Dark Elves and the ether, he gets lost in the ether. He's just lost. His character's lost. Nothing is compelling with his character is left in this movie. Maybe at one point in time there was. I happen to know that half an hour of this movie was cut out and replaced with more scenes with Loki and Darcy. Which, I can see why. But at the same point in time, I would have just liked some of Malekith's motivation to be on the screen, because here, he don't have none. Natalie Portman, I feel bad for. Again, she is left with a bad bag of goods here. I don't blame her for not wanting to come back to this movie, and I don't understand why she is going to be coming back for the fourth Thor movie, but apparently she is. Here, they do try to give her more to do. But at the same point, just because you literally make her the MacGuffin, you give her the ether, and now she has to literally go to Asgard to try to get it out of herself. Just because you make her what the villain Malekith wants and you put it inside of her, that doesn't mean that you actually give her something to do in the movie, because she is just handed off from point A to point B and she does nothing to defend herself or anything. She is just kind of a hanger-on, and like Bella, there is just not a whole lot redeeming about her, and I feel sorry for her. There are some positives here. I do like the look of the movie when it gives you pops of color. I like the aesthetic here. So quite a bit of the aesthetic that was in that first Thor film does carry over here. You do get the reverse Crocodile Dundee. Jane goes to Asgard here, and I do like that aspect of it. You spend a lot more time there. I don't know how much more you learn about Asgard, but you do spend a whole lot more time in a land that is very pretty and aesthetically pleasing. And on top of that, the action here is solid when there is action on the screen, with the exception of the last action scene. The climax of the movie just goes on way too long, and I get sick and tired of passing around the ether. It's a little too silly, and I didn't go with that. But besides that, the action here is very solid, and the choreography is great. And I do get a little bit more Game of Thrones from this movie than Thor. And if that's what they were going for, then they did a good job by bringing on Alan Taylor, who directed a lot of Game of Thrones episodes. But that doesn't amount to that much. And for that, I am going to give Thor: The Dark World my lowest score for all Marvel movies of a 4 out of 10. And coming up next, I am finally getting into the discs themselves. Yes, I am starting off with Endgame. How could I just save that to the end? I'm not going to do that. So next, I will be actually filming Endgame. I already watched it, and I have it behind me right here. I will be filming that right after I finish filming this video. And then I'm going to be going way back to the beginning and going with the original Iron Man. Look forward to all of that. I am going to be getting those to you guys this weekend. So I thank all of you for watching, and you guys are awesome. I don't even have to say it because you know it. And I will see all of you next time.